Well, everyone, and welcome to our podcast monthly with good friend, brother, and teammate Joe Williams, who's going to give us all of his insight as we delve into our normal fireside chat about geopolitical and all things financial. If you are new to the podcast, please do like, subscribe, and share so that others can gain in the knowledge you're going to be afforded. As you know, Joe is one of our honorary team members behind the scenes, now front of scenes. He is a former military vet and also a former police officer, so he has served our country in a variety of capacities. And he also has a great book, Blindsided, which we'll be sharing at the end. How you doing today, brother?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Outside of my computer puking up on me.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I can
yeah,
relate.
everything I had queued up is gone. So I expected something to happen because the moment we log off, everything I turn on.
Yeah, yeah, it never fails. Last week we had to run a bunch of diagnostics here in the studio with bugs and things, so I get that. Tis the season. Well, since you're the guest, dealer's choice, Joe. Do you want to start with geopolitical or financial discussion first?
Uh, I think a lot of people want to hear the financial stuff, so let's
Yeah,
skip to that.
you don't say.
And
Fort Knox is about to be audited, and that's imminent. And you're going to see that gold reserves are little to none. What do you think that'll do to the price of gold? And with silver being ransacked with COMEX on the markets, that's sure to follow as well. The only question is, are you going to take action or not? If you haven't, what are you waiting for? And if you have, please take a moment to visit one of our great sponsors here below, the link in the description, and call for the information. It's free. The consultation is free. The cost of not taking advantage of this has lasting consequences, folks. Please tell them John and Chris sent you. You'll be more than happy that you did.
yeah, we'll cross over into the geopolitical as we go because
Okay.
the stuff I had queued up, I'm going to have to play it by ear.
All right. Well, let me start sharing the screen with you and I'll start rattling off some of the updates and then get your feedback
Right.
on that. Sound good?
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
Run it.
Okay. So let's start simple and build. I'm going to share the screen with you here. As you know, we talked about this offline. Crude oil future is very important for Iraq, as you know, because they are trading $16 a barrel at their cost. And that's what they're paying the Kurds, the largest bloc, as you and most of the audience well know. Well, this is as of Tuesday. Was this Tuesday or yes? I'm sorry, yesterday morning.
Yesterday.
It says right there.
Yesterday.
Yeah, come on, John. March 5th, yesterday morning, it actually began trade off in a big sell off at 64.87. And then at its prime, it was 65.35. I believe it's 66 and change right now. But it's basically hit the watershed moment we need to see them bend the knee. So I thought that was pretty interesting. We go to the next slide, and we have an important crypto summit, as you know, tomorrow, which is monumental. And notice XRP is right in the center of it all, right?
Right.
And what we're expecting, as you know, Joe, we've talked about this many, many times. You're well familiar. As that summit concludes tomorrow, at some point thereafter, whether it's days or weeks, we expect the bogus Ripple case with the SEC to be dismissed. And we're looking at the first price jump between $10 and $30, which is definitely the sweet spot where XRP needs to be for the dinar. Now, I want to share some other stuff with you here that's pretty important. This is a big X factor right here. Everybody always asks about Vietnam. Well, if you notice here at the right-hand corner, according to American Focus on X, Vietnam is leading the world in semiconductor sales and manufacturing and imports at 5.25 billion. Look at some of the other countries, the Thai baht, Malaysia, Indonesia, I'm sure is in there somewhere for the rupiah. You think that's not going to have a positive impact on their already burgeoning GDP as well as the dong? Absolutely. So
Yeah, because the dong is undervalued
of course.
tremendously,
Yeah.
and they're doing that purposely,
Oh,
take
sure.
advantage of the fact that uh, they're tripling their money by keeping it devalued like that.
100%. And here we go. This came out this morning. Russia plans to use XRP for 50% of their oil payments. Think that's going to be instrumental with BRICS and trading oil and other commodities with India and other neighboring countries? Absolutely.
Yeah,
Uh,
once they lift that lawsuit, yeah, it's gonna take off like a rocket.
right. And again, we expect that shortly after the summit sometime tomorrow as a demarcation point. This was interesting. This is from our buddy Nigo at Currency 365. Governments are about to print, massive currency devaluations. The late great Benny Wilson, giving source credit, said a long time ago, a devalue to what? A revalue.
Revalue, right.
Except it's not going to hurt our reset currencies that we know about, the dong, the dinar, the zim bonds. We'll talk about that in a minute, the rupiah, the Thai baht, bolivar, etc. But it's going to make Bitcoin XRP as one of the altcoins, gold, silver, and oil skyrocket. And I just want to play this short video clip for you before we move forward. Take a listen to this. Let me just give me a second to cue up the sound so everybody can actually hear it properly. And we will go ahead thusly. Here we go.
Meeting under the shadow of US tariffs. With President Xi Jinping looking on, lawmakers on Wednesday committed extra money to boost the economy. China will now issue some $179 billion in special bonds to lift growth. That includes money to subsidize purchases of electric vehicles, appliances, and other goods. Premier Li Qiang said the country faced increasing external pressures.
Now, what else, Joe, do they have to deal with? China's going to owe us quite a few in trillions from COVID to pay for some of their bonds back to us, are they not?
It's crazy because before all of this stuff went down, we were in debt to China. But it's so bad now that China owe us so much money now,
right?
That, yeah, they're going to end up doing exactly what Russia's doing. They're going to sell some type of minerals to us or something like that.
It's going to be a complete about face, Joe.
Yeah.
This is Travis on X bombshell Trump announcement XRP once again. We've talked about this, the backbone of the ISO 20022 blockchain that will move what? The currencies like the dong and dinar. The exchange wouldn't be possible without XRP. It's happening, and it's just more confirmation. And then before I turn it over to you, we talked about Zimbabwe, so let's touch on that. There is an internal coup going on, according to one of the citizens there, who goes by the name of, I'm going to mispronounce this, folks. Give me a little rope here. Zivgo, who's a citizen there. That's his code name.
I guess Bitco.
It's a Bitco. Yeah, there you go. He or she is saying that there's an internal unrest and a coup going against Emerson Mnangagwa, who is the corrupt installed leader, not unlike what we had here and many other countries throughout the world, and that Nelson Chamisa can become president anytime. And those Zim bonds are worth a fortune, which we already knew. So these are just more exciting confirmations. Now, before I turn it over to you, I want to play one other quick video for you. This is a gentleman going by the name of Random Crypto Pal on X, and he is continuing to beat the drum of the validation of XRP being worth 100,000 at some point, and he explains with succinction why that is. So take a listen to this real quick.
XRP to $100,000? Here's how. There are experts out there that are predicting the price to go up to $100,000 at least for XRP. How is this going to happen? Well, they believe that the idea is that massive entities start tokenizing assets on the XRP ledger and essentially holding value on the XRP ledger. This will limit the supply of XRP that is available to use for on-demand liquidity. When you've got a smaller supply of tokens to use for the on-demand liquidity and a higher amount of transactions to use those small tokens with, the price of an XRP has to skyrocket.
So supply and demand, once again, same as anything in the past. Let me see if I can, I think that's pretty much the lion's share I want to show you. So now with all that, Joe, I turn it over to you. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, as far as the lawsuit, that thing has been over for months already. Decision was made on that. But optically, they're going to release it. I still think that the government, well, the good guys, they're sticking to a solid date. And of course, we want it to happen now, to be honest with you. But it's going to happen when it happens. But I think it's going to happen according to that date that they have selected. And I'm trying to think of everyone, if you surf the internet, everyone's going to pick a certain date, right. Independence Day or Memorial Day, or, Labor Day is special. This day is special. This day is special. Mm-hmm. Remember when Kuwait revalued their currency, it was on the 7th. It was right smack dead in the middle of Ramadan. So, which is perfect for them because their banks are closed anyway. And it gave them chance. They gave their financial computers the chance to reboot and test it and all that. So the moment Ramadan was over, then you had Eid after that,
Right.
and once all of that was over, bam, the system was flawless. I think the same thing's going to apply here. I think it is. I think um, just with that alone, the financial side, I believe it's gonna happen, but we just have to be patient. And it's happening. And one of the things we like to say, me and you, is the sausage is being made. You don't want to know how it's being made,
Right.
but you just know that once it's done, it's going to be delicious. All right.
100%. And
Yeah.
again, folks, as you always know, we're not financial advisors. It's not constitute as financial advice. It's just good, sound intel and information for you to use of your own discernmental authority. That being said, Joe, I agree with you. One thing I'm looking at is John G and I talked, like you and I every day, and he had told me the other day the Lord showed him 2 weeks from some point this week. So that's something interesting. We also look at next week, right? We've got the summit tomorrow, right? Then the 14th is what? The government shutdown. The next day,
Mhm.
15th, would seem to indicate that there's going to be some type of motion, especially with XRP summit, the case being dropped. Like you said, it's a coordinated effort on purpose. This is not random. We know this.
Right.
But
And I
I,
believe this is that tentacle. Remember, they said release the Kraken has 8 tentacles. There's going to be 8 different areas that's going to be operating at the same time.
Mhm.
And that's what that's my opinion on what I think it is. I think that it's going to be 8, probably more than 8 different things that's going to be going at the same exact time. It's going to keep the deep state off balance, and no one's going to know what's going to happen. And right when you least expect it, bam, someone's going to pull the trigger. Like, say, for instance, this right here that's being put out there now. I don't know if you see that, John.
I see it. Yep. Our
Yeah,
good friend Barry
uh,
Sortero.
yeah, exactly. And information like this is slowly starting to leak out now. And I lost you. Okay, there it is. I see it. Open that back up. And this is information like this is coming out. And one of the things that I covered today was the censure. I have well, at least I thought I had it. I pulled it. The censure of Al Green, and unfortunately, I live in this fool's district, and but he got censured today, which is basically evidence of accountability.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not sure if anyone's seen that, so let me go behind the curtain real quick. All right. You did it stop sharing, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay.
We're back to normal screen. While you're queuing that up, Joe, it is pretty repugnant the way. I'm not surprising because we know it's the deep state actors playing their role in this movie, but disgusting how repugnant they were at the State of the Union and even today at the censure vote, that there's even that many Democrats that would, again, not surprising, but just a sad testament to that party. We will not see a Democrat for a long, long time, hopefully ever, win again. And that
Yeah.
they would even protest after the fact what they did. Almost, they're going to go right to the end, dying on the hill defending this nonsense. It's laughable.
Is that he will call.
Yeah, and I had a lot of things. I had a video queued up to where, for the past 3 years, the Democrat has been acting up at every hearing possible, especially stuff like this. So even even at this uh, hearing, in order to get along with the people's business, even
Mhm.
this, they need to be
Congressman
censured. Check
Green
this out.
to the well. Oh, there we go. Let's listen in.
To answering present. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The House will come to order. The House will come to order. Shh. Will Representative Green present himself to the well? By its adoption of House Resolution 189, the House has resolved that Representative Al Green be censured, that Representative Al Green forthwith present himself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure, and that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker.
He's still John.
Just don't know when to quit.
They're gonna have to rewrite that song, Joel. Let's
The House
not
to come
stay
to order.
together.
The House to come to order.
Yeah. Yeah, these people just don't know when to quit, man.
No.
They do not know when to quit. And
There's no-
this is the type of stuff right here that lets you know that they're going down with the ship. The rats are scurrying. The Titanic is tipping over. The back end
Yeah.
up is starting to raise up. And
Yeah.
now that's this, yeah, the rats are starting to scurry now. So
Yeah.
this thing is, I believe it's almost over. And, you know, right after Trump's address to Congress, our former mayor and a distant cousin of mine, which, like I said, he's the one that is not connected to family. He never showed up to any of the family reunions or anything like that. Sylvester Turner left the address to Congress. He left there, went to the hospital, and died at the hospital the other day. And he had just won Sheila Jackson Lee's seat, which was the 18th congressional district. He had just won that seat. And it's ironic the fact that she died of pancreatic cancer. I think last June, I believe it was. She died of pancreatic cancer. So, conspiracy side, I believe, you know, they all have a deadline. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's just ironic that, you know, as soon as that happened, he checked out of here. So I called around, called my mom and asked her if she found out anything. And she said no. She has a couple of cousins that she's called to see if they set anything up. I'm not going. I'm definitely not going. I'm going to leave that for them because of what he represented. And, you know, yeah, he family, but oh well. So be it. Other than that, yeah. I have
It's another
something for you.
another video that's pretty funny and timely.
Yeah, I have a little surprise here for you.
You want to set it up, or you want me to?
Yeah, just me. I'm always pulling clips, but we're always sending each other silly stuff like this.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, here it goes.
You got to give the context before you play it.
Is it loud enough? Can you hear it?
No, you can turn it up a little bit.
It might even be Democrat. He's a
This is a movie for folks that don't know that came out in the early 90s called Problem Child.
Problem Child.
Starred
Yeah.
the late great John Ritter and Warren his last name. But anyway,
Yeah.
but
His mother's garbage blood. For all you know, it's transferring that in the loony bin. It might even be Democrat. He's a
oh, it's great.
But I had a couple of other
Sure.
things queued up. Let me.
Please. They have to tell you in programming, right?
Oh yeah. That's what it is. They do it because of free will.
Right.
And if people understood what free will was, it's just basically saying it's Satan teasing God, basically saying I can tell them to their face what I'm going to do, and they still will accept me.
Yeah, Jack Warden was the actor. I just came to mind. Jack Warden, the late Jack Warden.
Well, yeah. But that's what that free will is basically when they do this karmic retribution. Basically, and it's what karmic retribution. They announce it. He does that to tease God. It's like I'm going to tell him what I'm going to do to him, and they're still going to choose me. And that's what they do. They do it throughout movies all over the place. If you go back and watch a lot of movies, you say, check this out. I went back and I watched Murder at 1600. You remember that one?
Vaguely.
That's the one where Wesley Snipes was a police officer.
Oh yeah, that's
he had to investigate the murder at in that movie. It talked about how the president and the son of the president, you know, had their way with a female together. And the same thing is rumored to have happened to a certain president that used to be in this administration.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I love Trump. He was stepping on toes the entire
This is from a couple nights ago, correct?
yeah, yeah.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Boom.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, man, you're stepping on toes. Now this guy, he little kid right here.
Great story.
Oh my God, it brought a tear out of my eye. And then he's
Yeah,
wearing
it was
the
so
same
sweet.
uniform I used to wear, same exact uniform.
Since that time, DJ and his dad have been on a quest to make his dream come true, and DJ has been sworn in as an honorary law enforcement officer, actually a number of times. The police love him, the police departments love him. And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United
Look at that
States
faceless.
Secret Service.
That's so great. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, that's great.
And watch the hug he gives it. Watch, man. And he accepts the hug like it was his own son too.
Yeah.
You just watch it. And I mean, this part right here, the surprising thing about it, the Democrats didn't even stand and applaud any of it.
They're just so pathetic. They can't even give it, they're so bitter and jealous. It's just pathetic. They're just pathetic. It's a great story.
He's a smart kid too.
Yeah.
Since that
Yeah, he's a very smart kid, and the Democrat Party didn't even stand or
Yeah.
applaud. I mean, I would have at least just stood and just applauded for that.
They have no
Yeah.
class. No
Right,
class
right.
at all.
I just would have, I would have crossed the lines and said, look, you got to give him, a little small ovation just for that.
Right.
I still don't agree with Trump, but let me stand up for this kid. But they couldn't
Well,
do
certain things are just apolitical, right?
right.
Just integrity, decency.
to further enhance our national security, my administration will be reclaiming the Panama Canal, and we've already started doing it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Now, I didn't cut that good enough. Before, when he talked about the Panama Canal, he talked about the possibility of doing it, but I believe they've had the Panama Canal since last year, but they can't say that because of Panama was in violation of the contract they had, the treaty that they drew when the United States gave it to them, when Carter gave it to them, we had first rights of refusal. That's basically it. They had to contact us before they did anything with it, which they didn't. So they were in violation of the contract. That's why he's able to go back and get it, because they pretty much sold it to China. And if you look it up on the internet now, you can see all of the China paraphernalia all over the place in that area, because they just knew that they were taking over the Panama Canal. But no, you're not taking it over. This is ours.
He also mentioned, Joe, if you recall, I don't know if you caught the slideshow on there. I think it was at like the hour and 20 something minute mark. I was talking about this with Eli Weber yesterday on a podcast, because after I talked to you the other night after Carl's birthday, sat down to watch the whole SODU. He talked about the Middle East and how there's a lot going on behind the scenes. To me, that was an obvious comm about Iraq and the dinar. He also talked about the beginning front line of the speech. You and I talked about this, that he said, the Democrats will never be happy with anything I do. I can never please them as a collective. I'm paraphrasing. But I could cure cancer and all kinds of diseases, and they still would give it med beds right off the bat. Boom.
Yeah, right off. I mean, the very first paragraph in the speech, other than we're back, the golden. He said golden in there.
Golden age.
The golden age is now, and also what you just said. He said all of that in the first paragraph.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, he is starting already. And then what he did to Nancy Pelosi, I think, not Pelosi, Pocahontas.
Oh, Queen Fullable.
We also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland.
Oh,
We
okay.
strongly support your right to determine your own future. And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. We need Greenland for national security and even international security. And we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security. And I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
That's why I let that play.
We will keep you safe. We will make you rich,
I don't
and
know if you caught
together
that, John.
we will take. But we need it really for international world security. And I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
One way or the other, we're going to get it. So,
Yeah. Not to mention rare earth minerals, Joe. And who's living in that? Why do they never let you fly when you go over Antarctica over a certain point? What are they trying to hide?
no, they don't want you to see what's really going on.
Mhm.
Well, of course, we live in the firmament, and they don't want you to know
They don't
everything.
want you to know that. Yeah.
Right, right. Then and that's all because of control. But
Right.
a lot of that information is going to finally come out.
It's long overdue.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it used to be out there. It was in the Bible. It was in the encyclopedias. I have a lot of the old encyclopedias. My parents kept them, and I have them now. And I wanted to look through it and scan a few pages in to show people this stuff was already it was already being told that we live in the firmament, and basically it's a glass dome over a certain point
Right.
planet.
Well, as a Texan, right? They modeled the old Texas Stadium, right? With
Yes.
firmament flat on the bottom and spherical on the top, so God could look down and see His creation playing.
Right, right. That's why you have some people. It's a flat Earth. Well, the Earth itself is flat, but the firmament creates the dome effect.
Right.
So it's kind of a both.
And maybe that's what he also means as a double entendre when he talks about the Iron Dome.
Right, right. But I think he changed it though. I think he changed it to the Golden Dome.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. He changed it because he didn't want to go Iron Dome because that was Israel's. So I believe he changed it to the Golden Dome. But
Makes sense.
let's see, is this it here?
3.5 years ago, ISIS terrorists killed 13 American service members and countless others in the Abbey Gate bombing during the disastrous and incompetent withdrawal from Afghanistan. Not that they were withdrawing, it was the way they withdrew. Perhaps the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. Tonight, I am pleased to announce that we have just apprehended the top terrorist responsible for that atrocity, and he is right now on his way here to face the swift sword of American justice.
Wow.
Now, the word sword, I looked it up and I had it lined up and queued up, but it's on my hard drive that it just went dead on me right before the show. But of course, sword was in the Q drops. I think it was 12 times. And of course, remember he did the sword dance a while back, and also the sword of justice. I believe that was a Q as well.
Yeah.
Now, if you hear it in this one, yeah, I think this is it.
Do you want to keep it going for another?
Okay, yeah. Now, the applause that you're hearing is the Democratic Party. Now, what he said was we had sent millions and millions of dollars to Ukraine, and they started clapping, and an applause came from that side. So that's why he had to come back with this comment. I cut it short, but I found the original clip. But of course, thank you, hard drive.
You want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, yeah. You would say Pocahontas says yes.
Queen Fullable, right on schedule.
Yeah.
2000.
Yeah. Okay.
She's an embarrassment. She's an embarrassment to my home state amongst the many, sadly.
Yeah, and here's the next scene that with that. And then I got one more little video I created.
Sure.
But, it cut short. Yeah.
That's all right.
You kept the damn receipt. Well, I hope you.
I'm going to use that clip in one of my videos.
Yeah.
So, but But yeah, I have another little video that I just uploaded the other day. Let me back behind the curtain real quick. I just did it the other day, and I had a couple other ones, and I wanted to show people how the Democratic Party did not vote. That wasn't the only time they voted. The other day when what came across their desk to defend women against men in sports, the Democratic Party voted 100% against it. And I'm like, no one in history has voted like this but the Democratic Party. Now, what I was going to play was this right here. It's two videos that I'm going to play here just to show you. And then it's two back-to-back videos. Then the one that I have edited, I do have it pulled up. But I want you to see if it'll open up. Come on. Open up for me. This thing. Oh my goodness.
Can't win for losing, right, Big Joe?
Yeah, and I had, and I rushed home, but I had everything ready to go. But
all right,
hard drive just stopped working. Okay, here we go.
Not a single Democrat in the United States Senate voted to keep biological men out of women's sports. Not a single one of these guys. So congratulations, all of you. You are with the 18% who support that position according to the new party of the 18%. Now expand this out. So that's the Senate. Now let's go to the House. When the House voted on this, there are 215 House Democrats. Guess how many voted on the side of the 79%? 2. 1 abstained. So when you do the math, there are 270 Democrats elected at the federal level to our legislature. 260 rather. Out of the 260, 2 Democrats voted to be with the 80%. You don't care about the girl in college who gets up at 4 a.m. to run track. You don't care about the girl who's worked her entire life in middle school and high school to get an athletic scholarship. And you do not care about the girl getting punched by a biological man in a ring. Shame on you. 258 Democrats. 258.
Now, the same women that didn't vote, they wore pink to the address to Congress. Why? To represent women. And it's like, dude, how are you going to represent women, but you're not voting to help them?
right.
And I wanted to show this. This is an old video. I love this video, and I sometimes go back to watch it because it's a very important video, and a lot of Black people don't know about this. So check this out.
Of the 23 African Americans elected to the federal Congress, 13 had been slaves. Now, here's what really is fascinating with that. You're talking 1865, you're in slavery. You're talking 1875 years later, you're now a member of Congress. The right to vote for African Americans today has nothing at all to do with the 1965 Voting Rights Act, contrary to most people's opinion. The right to vote was given as one of the 3 civil rights amendments post-Civil War. You have the 13th Amendment to abolish slavery. In that vote in Congress in 1865, January, February 1865, the Senate first and the House, 100% of Republicans voted to end slavery. 118. 82 Northern Democrats in Congress, only 19 voted to end slavery. Only 23% of Northern Democrats wanted to end slavery. We roll on through, and in the South, slavery has been ended. So the 14th Amendment was passed in Congress to give civil rights to all those emancipated slaves, all the freedmen. That vote in Congress, not a single Democrat in the House or the Senate voted for the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. They passed the 15th Amendment in 1870 that says every African American can vote. So voting rights for African Americans come from the 15th Amendment passed in 1870, which, by the way, not a single Democrat in the House or the Senate voted for the 15th Amendment. Now, what happens is we roll forward to the next few years, and between 1870 and 1875, Congress passed a bunch of civil rights laws. Because in 1876, Democrats took control of the House of Representatives. So no more civil rights laws passed until 1964. In 1892, Democrats got control of the House and the Senate and the presidency and promptly repealed all the civil rights laws, voting rights laws, etc. That's where the South started.
You heard what he said, right?
Mhm.
Once they got control of everything, they repealed everything.
House of Representatives. So no more civil rights laws
Right.
passed until 1964. In 1892, Democrats got control of the House and the Senate and the presidency and promptly repealed all the civil rights laws, voting rights laws, etc. That's where the South started literacy tests, poll taxes, Democrat legislatures passing all these things to keep blacks from voting, despite the fact the 15th Amendment says they can vote.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and this video, man, I love this video. This it's about a 90-minute video that I have. It talks about all of this and it breaks it down and oh my, I'm gonna have to play it one day.
Yeah,
Joe,
one
clip
day.
it live and play it.
Well-
It's a very good informational video. But if, as you can see, the Democrats have been doing this for years now. It was one great president. I'm not going to call him great, but one president said that as pertaining to the black community, that he said, I'm going to have N-word vote Democrat for the next 300 years. Now, it's documented that he said that, and they knew it. And like fools, we're following suit. Yes, sir. We're going to go ahead and vote like he said to vote instead of doing our own homework. We're just going to listen to them and vote, like this. And they're trying to keep us on this political plantation when they don't have to.
Right.
They don't. Race is just there to keep us separated.
Mhm.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And let me stop that. Yeah, race is there to keep us separated, just like religion. Religion is there to keep you separated. They want to keep us divided because I believe the world should be based on spirituality and not religion. Religion is just, you got all of these religions to keep you separated and all this. But if you notice, the one common denominator that all these, a lot of the religions have is we're all preaching from the same Bible.
Mm.
Isn't that crazy? We have all of these religions, but we read the same Bible.
Right.
So, but that's just me. I'm gonna get off my soapbox when it comes to that. But,
No, that's what you're here for. I mean, this is the beauty of this organic dialogue. But I mean, as you were playing that, Joe, the first thought I had was David Byrne's Talking Head, same as it ever was. I mean,
yes,
nothing
yeah.
changed, right?
Nothing-
Divide them by race, religion, background, politics, where they live, what job title
Yeah.
they have, what neighborhood they live in,
Yeah.
their favorite sports teams. I mean, if you go to sports, right? You go to baseball or football, they have what? The divisional conference,
divisional
the
conference.
the National
Divide.
League
Yep.
division. It's all
Yeah.
about language and coding, division. Keep us separated by these petty insolences that don't really matter. So we never focus on the target, which you and I are wholly designed to do.
Right. Just like they have like the historical black colleges, you have their own kind of SWAC conference and all this other stuff. To me, it should be just broken down into regions. And if the smaller schools are playing the big schools, that means we need to come up. That means we need to get better. If we keep getting beat by them, we need to get better. We
Right.
need to improve. To me, that's incentive to get better. And now that you have stuff like the internet, parity should be perfect now. You can go to your nearest college and still get seen. And that's because there are people in the league right now you would have never seen if it wasn't for the internet. If it wasn't for, them being able to televise a lot of these games, you can see the talent that's all over the place. Same thing politically. Without everything that's going on, like with us, with the internet, with our, information that we're blessed with, we can't share it with anyone. But I know I was getting heavy first couple of years because when I had my show, I couldn't do anything, and they're still in my computers. But just like I told you, this picture right here was on. I moved it. This is my second screen. This is my secondary screen that you're looking at, and it's basically a TV monitor. And every time I turn it, I boot it back up. It's still there. It's not on the main computer. My main computer, I had to change it, and they hadn't changed. They hadn't swapped it out yet. So, but if I put it on my main computer, this picture would not stay on my main computer, and which I hate, but I love this picture. I absolutely love this picture.
Yeah. No, it's priceless.
So, yeah.
Exciting times, Joe. I think we can agree we're coming to the climax of this whole movement, financially, geopolitically, which everybody's been long, as you said earlier, anticipating. So these puzzle pieces hopefully will give people some clarity, peace, and confirmational insight as to what's not about to happen, what's happening right now. We're in the cyclone as we speak. So
Right.
as we close up today's podcast, Joe, talk a little bit about your book, Blindsided, and where people
Oh,
can
yeah.
get it, and the last words that you have for the audience today as well, please.
Well, I want to go out with the video I edited the other day. Of course, Blindsided. Here it is right here. A very easy read about a police officer that's chasing a killer.
Following an arbitrary clue in the form of a painting of a murdered teen, Houston cold case detective Joe Wills journeys to Atlanta to meet the blind artist who claims to know nothing about the deceased victim. The investigation drives Wills deeper into a web of intrigue, where he encounters a suspect who seeks infamy of a different sort. As he closes in on the desperate person of interest, he realizes the murdersome menace has flipped the script and set his sights on him. Now, for the veteran cop who'll go down to the blood and dust to nab an elusive killer, one thing is certain: the stronger will survive. Will he be the one to persevere? Blindsided is a standalone novel that captures the haunting inspirations of a mind's eye, forever challenging the notion of the common criminal. Buy your copy now on Amazon.com or on your Kindle devices.
So, no, none of the stuff in here is actually true. Nothing I covered in here. A lot of the language is true, but I'm trying to think. Did we put anything in this? No, there's nothing in this that we did. But I have stories that I could tell, but I just choose not to because some of them are gruesome, some of them are dark.
Sure.
And God kept his hand on me. He did my entire time, because there have been several situations where I chased a guy into a house. It could have went bad as soon as I walked in, as soon as I ran into the house behind him. And this is when my first year, and they tell you, do not just storm into a house because there could be someone behind the door. And lo and behold, there was someone behind the door. And the partner with me, he checked behind the door. That could have went wrong. I pulled 3 guns off of people before in traffic stops. That could have went bad too. Drug deals that I come across, and transactions, transports of drugs. I've seen accidents. I've seen suicides. I've seen accidental shootings. It's a lot of stuff that I can actually say I can talk about, but I just really choose not to, because it's dark. Because then it'll take me back to my military days, what I saw in the Army when I was there in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Highway to Hell is what we called it. Gruesome. But also, this is the next one that we're working on right now, Vexing and Vidalia.
Okay.
And if people want to, they could. I don't know if you can see it. I'll probably post it later. Not yet, because I want to do a trailer for it, like I did for this one. I think you still have the trailer. But let me play this, and then I'll do my outro.
Okay. Sounds good, brother.
And here we go.
Right now, not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now.
I love that.
To see from President Zelensky to restart these negotiations?
Well, I just think you should be more appreciative.
Flashback.
Between President Biden and the Ukrainian president back in June. What do we know about that conversation, Courtney?
Yeah, that's right, Kate. So in this conversation, President Biden called President Zelensky to tell him about a roughly $1 billion package of additional equipment and weapons for the Ukrainian military coming from the United States. During the course of the call, President Zelensky continued, according to a number of officials who we spoke with who are familiar with the call, President Zelensky continued to talk about the additional equipment and weapons and support that he and his military needed. According to these officials, they said that President Biden finally just got frustrated and lost his temper and told President Zelensky, look, you could be a little bit more grateful. You could be a little bit more grateful. You could be a little bit more grateful. The reason that this story is interesting to us and is something that we are reporting on and officials are speaking to us about is because it shows that all these months ago, President Biden already realized that there was going to be a point where the American people, members of Congress, where people would start potentially pushing back on all these billions and billions of dollars of aid and equipment that the U.S. has been providing to Ukraine. And he knew that the narrative out there needed to be that the Ukrainian people and President Zelensky were grateful for it. The support was going to continue at that same level.
And a flashback.
What do you need to see from President Zelensky to restart these negotiations?
Well, I just think he should be more appreciative.
And notice how he wore a suit back then, Big Joe. He managed to get a suit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Too funny.
And
That's too funny.
notice she did everything in her power to tell the truth without telling the truth.
Yeah.
Because she didn't want to actually say that they were giving up and saying, hey, but everything they tell you now happened before, especially under the old regime. It's like Biden called him and told him, look, you need to be a little more appreciative of what we're doing for you. And the American people was going to get tired of sending all that money. Fast forward to now. Now, Trump said the exact same thing he said, different words. He said he needed to be more,
Appreciative.
more appreciative. Right. And the American people are getting frustrated with sending millions and millions of dollars over there. So what's good for the goose is not good for the gander, of course. And fun fact, a goose is a female goose, and a gander is a male goose. And it's funny how that played out because the gander would be Trump, of course, the male goose, the real men in this situation. But, that's just me and this levity of this entire situation. But I just wanted to show that and show how the way she minced her words and how she was being real particular in how she said it, because she didn't want to give up the fact that he was pissed and he said, hey, you need to be a little more appreciative of what I'm doing for you. And they had, it's like that was 22. So that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago now.
2.5, 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everything comes full circle, and you've always done a really good job of using your detective skills to decode in this, which becomes invaluable. So we will put the link, as always, Joe, in the video at the end, so people get the nice trailer that you did for the book, Blindside. We'll put that as a link in the description. If people want to get that book, I've read it, big fan of it, and I know some of our team has enjoyed it as well, so that's cool. And folks, as Joe said earlier, as we conclude for today, the doors are kitty. Go ahead, Joe.
No, I was going to, I mean to cut you off, but remember we the things with the files. Remember we decoded that as well.
Mm-hmm.
How Cash put out, I'm going to investigate Comey. And then a few days later, she said, we have the files. We're going to release them on this date. The files were never released. The files were basically, they traced back where it's supposed to come from. SDNY, which is the Southern District of New York. Comey's daughter is an attorney out of the Southern District of New York. And who did she represent? She represented Maxwell in her trial and worked on the team with that guy who supposedly hung himself. I don't want to say his name, but you know what I'm talking about. And it leads back to the SDNY. And who stepped down last week? The head guy, attorney over there at SDNY, New York, because he never released the files. So Trump puts everything out there for us to do our own research, because we, the people, have to save the United States, not Trump. It has to be we, the people. And that's the reason why they put it right there in front of you. They just point, you just pay attention. He will point where he wants you to look. Hey, look over here. Hey, you know what? I don't like cryptocurrency. I'm not a fan of cryptocurrency. It's unregulated. And what did we do? We looked at cryptocurrency. Why is it not regulated? Then the 22 was hit. They made it legal. Through that, they pretty much regulated. Now they got control of it. And what does he do? He goes to the crypto bar. He lets people know, hey, I'm into crypto now. Now it's good. Now it's legal. And now you want to invest in it. And then all of a sudden you turn around, he opens up a couple of coins. Him and Melania has a coin. He has a coin. Everyone, I mean, they were putting coins out like, just like it was a handful of change, and they were just throwing it out in the middle of the street.
Right.
But let me shut up again because I can talk all.
No, you're good. And to your point, Joe, we've talked about this. I've talked about this in other podcasts, and you and I have talked about it many times. Trump always does an about face. It's a art of the deal negotiation tactic. You just talked about crypto, and we want to. I think it's a good segue to end for today, Joe. Is he's going to do the same thing with BRICS. Oh, I'm going to put 100% tariffs on BRICS, but then you see him do 0% with Malay.
Yeah.
You don't think that's going to be a cornerstone for BRICS, where there's going to be no tariffs? They're going to reach deals so that all these countries can power up and nationalize their currencies on a level playing field, which he keeps saying. Oh, he's going to say, you know what, BRICS is good now. I've made a deal with them, and so folks, don't be dismayed. I know Joe will agree. Don't be dismayed about the moves and counter moves you're seeing with the currencies. They're absolutely going to be stellar, right along with the cryptos and precious metals and other exotic bonds like the Zim bonds. So if you are trying to get some currencies or add to the cache of what you have, we have a great company we work with that's very good and reliable and solid. And, Chris runs the back end on the customer service. He's very attentive to it. We will leave that link in the description. Big Joe, we appreciate you, brother. Thanks for being here and lending your invaluable research and advice, cogency. Look forward to talking with you again here shortly, and appreciate you. Have a blessed rest of your day, brother.
Hey, take it easy, and I'll talk to you later, man.